Hey everybody, welcome to GearHead Garage. Hey, I just jumped in the Mini Cooper here. Hannah has us going out to see Gary Wilson today. Gary's been a friend of mine in the motorsports world for the last 25 years, and he's going to talk to you today about tires. Both performance tires and street tires, so I think you're going to enjoy it. So we should be there shortly. Fire up the Mini, we'll be there in a minute. In the meantime, let me get the tunes lined up here because Hannah likes to listen to that little band from Texas on the way out. See you in a bit. Hey everybody, made it out to Gary Wilson's place. This is Mr. Gary Wilson. He has been an instructor for 25 plus years in the high performance driving field, so he's very well versed. He's going to talk to us later today about tires and how important they are to you as a competitor and as just a novice who wants to come out and do a track day. First off, though, I want Gary to talk just a little bit about his background, how he got into this crazy sport and why he's still in it today. So Gary, take it away.
Well, you know, it's a fascinating thing to spend time doing. Been a car lover since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, as they say. I was fortunate. My dad worked for Chevrolet Engineering in the V8 engine group when I was a kid, and on through my college years when he retired. And as a result, was exposed to a lot of GM motorsports with colleagues of his, and an ability to be around some pretty cool car stuff throughout the country. So I started doing SCCA for a few years as just a young kid when I got a driver's license, did karting, drag racing, off-road stuff, had been involved in amateur motorsports from a very young age. And then, you know, kind of kids came along, family came along, finished school, had to, you know, make my way in the world and kind of got away from it. And then as life got, you know, a little better, I went to Skip Barber to refresh my skills, and just absolutely fell in love with the motorsports and the idea of doing track day stuff. Had an opportunity. Gary Curtis was the lead instructor for a program at the time known as Donnybrook, and at Brainerd International Raceway. And after several years of doing track events with those guys, I think there was probably a need for an instructor, and was asked to kind of debut, if you will, in left seat and some behind the wheel instruction. And so the story goes. Time goes by, a life goes by in a heartbeat, and I've never lost the passion for doing this. It's just such a wonderful thing to do. It's entertaining. I meet a lot of good people, and kind of the world of car guydom and galdom is a great thing. A lot of great people, and it's really it's a privilege to continue to work with Gary Curtis at the new school.
Thanks, Gary. Can you just give a little bit, give a little tip or a little tidbit of information maybe for a novice driver? We've all been there. We've been to that point where it's like, gee, I wanted to go out to the track, I want to take my car out, I want to have some fun, but I'm nervous. I've never done this before, and there's people out there that have been doing this like yourself for a long time. What's your advice to this person who wants to come out and go, you know what, I want to give this a try?
You know, it's a good question, and honestly, I face a little bit of that nervousness, you know, kind of every season, both kind of nervous excitement as well as a little self-doubt. You know, am I going to be up to the task? And you know, the real essence of this, and I learned this from a very famous guy, Vic Elford, that I had as a driver coach at one point at Skip Barber, and that is to go slow to go fast. Meaning, if you learn the proper racing line, learn your braking points, learn where to look on the track and where to place the car, and do that at moderate speeds, and then be very precise and build from there, you can end up treating the car more gently and It's easier on the car. It's easier on yourself. You don't have to get out and kind of compete wheel to wheel with somebody driving a 700 horsepower Corvette that'll go blasting past you on the straight. You need to drive at your speed and kind of don't ignore your surroundings. Be situationally aware, but then drive at your own pace. We've had students in our programs through the years that would start off very nervous. And oftentimes this was a lady who probably listened better than men, I dare say, and would end up being very moderate and feeling a little over their ski tips in the morning. And by midday, they'd start to get with it. And at the end of the day, they were setting better lap times more efficiently and more safely than someone who figured, oh man, I'm in a fast car and I'm going to really get out there and rip. And so that would be my word of advice, and I give it often to students, is to drive within your limits, learn how to do things properly and precisely, and the speed will come. And when it does, it'll be safer, and you can get then better from there.
Good point. It kind of falls into the mantra that I've always gone by also working with Gary over the years is, first, be safe. When you're on the track, that's the most important thing, is be safe. Next thing, have fun. Hey, we're all out here to have fun and enjoy our day. Don't put too much pressure on yourself to be the fastest guy in the track, because there's always going to be somebody faster. And then the last thing is go fast. All right, Gary.
And have fun. Well, so you've had a day at the track, maybe a couple days at the track. You've probably noted that your tires are subject to a little higher wear rate than driving to work. And you know, that's a good thing, because as they say, a squealing tire is a happy tire. So you always want to keep that in mind when you're on track. Once you start thinking about this in a little more depth, and this is something that a lot of you may know, but we have just a graphic here that's an easy way to just kind of interpret a whole bunch of information that is shown on all tires. But and you talk to your tire dealer or car guy, 195, 55, R16. What does all this mean? Well, just briefly, the first number is going to be in millimeters, the nominal section width. So a wider tire, you'll see, say on I think the new Corvettes have a 375 width. This is a 195, which would be fairly narrow on a passenger car. 55, this is a percentage of the sidewall width to the cross-sectional width. And so in this tire, this is going to be 55% of 195 millimeters. As you're looking at the very low profile tires, you'll hear the expression +1 or +2 for rim sizes. As you upgrade to other wheels and tires, this aspect ratio gets narrow. You'll see sometimes some tricked up cars where they'll have maybe a 30, meaning it's only 30% of the section width. And they look real cool, but pretty dangerous to drive on the street, because you hit a pothole, now you've ruined a tire and probably the rim. So in any case, be aware of what that stands for. The R just simply means it's a radial construction. Pretty much all tires that one would be buying nowadays will be radial construction. 16 is the rim diameter in inches. And they do everything in millimeters, but then this is a worldwide standard. They're going to use 16 or 17, 18, 19. You'll see guys that trick up cars, they'll have 21 or 22 inch rims. Whole lot of stuff out there for people to spend their money on once we start playing with cars. Then there's a load capacity, and then V, and we have just a couple of charts here where it's showing on the ratings. For example, a V-rated tire is up to 149 miles an hour. And this is on a sustained basis, and it has to do with tire temperature delta and its ability to hold together. Typically, we're going to be seeing cars, in passenger cars, you're going to probably be up into the H, U, H, and V ratings as far as speed. There's a lot of other information on the tire. We don't want to go too much in depth, but in addition to the speed rating, they also have a grade, and this is the compound A, B, C. It refers to the asphalt G-force, and this is in a test environment, not in the real world, with a tire in a flat orientation, not flat as in no air, but square on the ground. Depending on car and suspension setups, caster, camber, etc., it's not uncommon. And this is per tire. Again, a new Corvette C8 probably has cornering forces well above 1G. But in any case, this is just a comparative measure of what kind of grip the tire provides. All right, well, we are going to look at two other tire types and talk about compounds and tread design a little bit. This is a Hankook Ventus all-season tire. It is a fairly hard compound compared to the snow tire. This is an all-season, and there are symbols on the sidewall that reflect that. And this is going to give good performance in winter and summer. You'll be less than 100% optimal in the summer. You'll be less than 100% optimal in the winter. However, it's a good choice. This is a good durable tire, and we'll talk a little bit about compound and tread design as we come around the other side. You can see that this has, much like the winter tire we just examined, that there are very deep grooves. Those are channels to dispel water, allow water to escape as you go across the road surface. The tread design is also to disperse water. So this compound, again, compared to use the fingernail test, the tire is quite a bit harder. The compound on this is referred to as a 500 tread wear, which is going to be pretty durable. That contrasts to the high performance tire that we're going to examine now. This is a Dunlop tire, is a summer high performance tire. You can see the difference in terms of tread design, and that there are much larger blocks. There's the radial grooves for dispelling water to make it good performance in wet weather, and channels to disperse that water, but each individual tread block is much bigger. This compound is quite a bit softer than the all-season, and between the tread design and the compound, you've classed this as a high-performance tire. And it's one thing to be very aware of, that high-performance tires typically should not be driven on the road. If you look at the literature that comes with a high-performance tire, you'll see a good deal of information that it's recommended to not drive it in temperatures below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The reason for that is these compounds, while they're very soft and compliant in summer weather conditions or when hot, when it gets cold, they get into what the tire engineers refer to as a glass state, meaning that it has almost no compliance or ability to conform to the road surface. Literally, I've seen people get stuck on a snowball in a parking lot with summer high-performance tires. So if you've bought a car and are intrigued, geez, it has these grippy, cool tires, and then you're driving it into the fall, and all of a sudden you're out on a 10-degree morning, and you're going, oh my gosh, I can't even keep this thing on the road. The reason is that compound is not well suited. One thing to be aware of as well is in these higher performance compounds, this tire has a 200 rating compared to the 500 that we saw in the all-season Hankook tire. And so that's less than half. It means it's going to wear at a high faster rate. The other issue is there's various things that can happen between alignment settings, primarily caster and camber. Camber is probably the more critical of the two as the tires lean in. Sometimes you'll see somebody with a race car is particularly notable, or a track car that you'll see the tires leaning in quite a bit. The reason for that is that negative camber, it's called, is as you go around a corner and the loads shift. If we're going through a right-hand corner, all of the weight distribution is going to the left side, and that tire is going from leaning in to being flat. This is the tire that's carrying all the load as the way the weight transfers. This tire has cupping on the inside because the car this was mounted on had a fairly aggressive negative camber setting. However, this is from one of my cars, and I drive like a little old grandma, and I haven't driven it hard enough. So instead of leaning this tire up to get the wear across the tread width, I'm kind of wearing it out, driving around like an old grandma on the inside. This is a directional tire, so it's not possible to rotate this from one side to the other. I mean, there's an outside, and if you rotate tires, which if they're the same size, you can, and in a staggered tire width. You'll see this on many performance cars. The BMW M3 is a good example. Corvettes are also this way typically. You'll have a wider tire section on the rear than on the front. And so those tires cannot be rotated front to back. And typically they're directional tires, meaning if you want to rotate them, you'll need to dismount them from the rim and remount them in order to be in the correct orientation to rotate tires. So that just gives you a little bit of overview of issues that affect tread compound and tread design.
Hey, hello everybody. Just got back from Gary Wilson's. That was a nice little video Gary put together, or a presentation I should say Gary put together for us. If you liked what you saw on that, go ahead and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Hit the like button, give me a thumbs up, and we'll get some more information on different things happening in people's garages out to you as soon as we can. Hannah's right up there in the dash. I think she's got another assignment for me, so I better get to it. Catch you later. Thanks.